Welcome. Welcome to Thoughts Roundup. Thank you for being here with me. Well, I have Brother Hosch from Ball, Louisiana. If you don't know where Ball is, it's not far from Alexandria. If you don't know where Alexandria is, how can we help a brother?
It's right in central Louisiana, right between Monroe and Lafayette.
And right on the old Red River.
That's it.
Well, thank you, Brother Hosch, for coming and being with me.
Well, I'm honored to be a part of it. I always enjoy it.
Well, thank you. Thank you for listening. Now, we got a lot to talk about in a short time.
Yes, sir.
I want. How long have you been here in Ball at the church?
Almost 14 years.
14. Where is time gone?
Time's fun when you're having flies. Or time's flies when you're having fun.
You meant to say that.
Yes, sir.
Well, anyway, whenever I first came here, you were in a much smaller building than you have now. You have a beautiful church.
Thank you. God's been very good to us.
And I enjoyed every time I've ever come to be with you. How long have you been in the ministry?
I've been in the ministry just over 30 years.
30 years.
Father's Day will be 31 years.
Uh-huh. And your father was a minister?
Yes, sir.
Or still is. He's just got older.
He pastored 42 years altogether.
In Warner Robins, Georgia?
Warner Robins, Georgia, and Jefferson, Georgia.
Jefferson.
Yes.
Where is Jefferson?
Jefferson is 8 miles outside of Athens, Georgia, where the University of Georgia is.
I got you. Yeah. Well, now, you have a lovely wife and family. Tell us about your wife and family.
My wife and I have been married almost 29 years.
Yeah.
And we met in my dad's church. She was in the second grade.
Second grade?
When they started coming to my dad's church. And so we were married in 1994. And this year will be 29 years. We have 3 daughters. 2 of them is married. So we got 2 son-in-laws and 2 grandchildren, a girl and a boy.
Now, when you met her in second grade, did you kiss her?
No, I waited till after I started dating her.
I was in the first grade, and there was a redheaded girl in there, and I was sitting beside her, and we kind of had our chairs in a row or something, and the teacher asked me a question. I said, I don't know. She said, if we get your armor from around Earlene.
Yes, sir.
You might be able to think about this stuff. Now, wasn't that something to say to a first grader?
It was. It was. But I can understand.
Yeah. One time I was sitting there and my chair fell over backwards. Isn't it odd how you remember? I'm 87 now. I remember all that since his first grade.
Well, it involved girls. That's why.
It involved girls, and also that falling backwards was so embarrassing.
Yes, sir.
It was so embarrassing. Now, how long has your dad been preaching?
Daddy's been preaching just a little over 50 years.
50 years.
And he has Parkinson's disease. He's 69 years old.
Yeah.
And it sort of forced him into retirement a little early.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, Now, where were you prior to coming here?
Well, I was in Bishop Tim Copeland's church in Beaufort, Georgia,
Buford.
from 98 till 2000 as youth pastor. That was where I went full time in the ministry. And then I started evangelizing out of Brother Copeland's church, and I evangelized about 2.5 years. And then I assisted Brother Lyles in Generette for 3.5 years.
Yes.
Then I traveled a little over 2 again, and I assisted Brother Wayne Cardwin to Quincy, Louisiana.
Yes.
And then I came here to Ball, and I've been here ever since.
I knew all of those that you talked about.
They were great men.
Yeah, great men. Preached for them and everything. Well, your church is very active. It's very alive. What is the physical address?
296 Highway 1204 in Ball.
Yes. Who was here before you?
Brother Carl Francois was here for 19 years before me.
Yes.
He did a great job, came from the old building which was called Under the Hill, and then he bought the building next door, which is now our fellowship hall.
Yeah. Now, you have some kind of, you have a history with the church that's at the Air Force Base in Georgia.
Yes, that was Warner Robins, Georgia.
Warner Robins, yes.
My dad pastored there 19 years. When he took that church, they had had 12 pastors in 10 years. And he said he was going to stay and build a church, and he was there 19 years, built a nice building on the corner of the last gate of the base, Russell Parkway and Welborn Road.
Now, folks, this man right here can play an organ like he invented it. He's so good. And, of course, he's a singer. And did music just come to you automatically, or?
It did. I started playing, my dad bought me a 12-bass accordion.
Oh.
And he showed me a few chords because he played simple chords. And I was 6 years old, and he showed me several chords. And him and my mother went to town. I was at my great-grandparents' house. And when they came back, I could play Amazing Grace, I'll Fly Away, several songs.
Just a few hours.
About 2 hours, and I just picked it up. And so I played that in the church from the time I was 6 till I was 10 years old. And our piano player moved to Florida, and my wife's grandmother had been the organ player, so she moved to the piano, and my dad told me I was the new organist at 10 years old, and my feet wouldn't even hardly reach the pedals. But I started playing, and I've been playing ever since.
Well, let me ask you, did you have have you ever been in quartets or sing with any of the groups or anything?
Not a lot. I've sang for probably the past 10 years with a preacher's quartet of Louisiana preachers, the Gulf Coast preachers, and we sing at a men's conference at Brother Townley's every year. And
who were some of the other?
Well, when it started off, it was me and Brother Jimmy Townley and Brother Ben Weeks and Brother Jeremy Shields.
Well, that Ben Weeks and Jeremy Shields and Townley,
Quite voices.
They're musical people.
And then we've added different guys and had more of a group the last several years, but it's always been fun because it's not something that I do a lot of, so I enjoy it each year singing in that quartet, or now a group, a little bit bigger group.
You used to, I know you go to different services, like people having conferences and stuff, and
Yes, sir.
ask you to come. I believe it was at Brother Townley's one time. You and is it Ben Weeks and you and was there and
Yes, sir.
especially for the singing.
Yes, sir.
And
Every year.
You
Yes.
still?
We still do it every year.
Yeah.
I messed up 2 years ago and scheduled a family vacation on that same week, and I almost got fired,
I almost got fired.
but
Well,
I salvaged my job.
oh, you
somehow.
had to. You was getting paid so much.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Well, I'll tell you what. I've already got you and Ben down. If y'all happen to be around whenever I kick the bucket, I've always told you I wanted you to furnish some music, and also Starks, Brother
Shields.
Shield.
Well,
Brother
I
Shields
hope you
wrote
live forever.
Brother Shields. Well, I don't think I will because I already feel bad. Now, Brother Shields, wrote a song about my wife and I,
Yes, sir.
and to me, I thought it was a good song.
Yes, sir.
If somebody writes something about you, you might not be pleased with it, but I was pleased with what he had to say. Well, give us did I ask you for the physical address of this church?
Yes, sir.
Well, I'm getting old,
Yes, sir. Well, I'll give
and
it
I
to
might
you again.
forget.
296 Highway 1204, Ball, Louisiana.
Okay. Oh, did I ask you about the address?
Yes, sir.
Was it? I had an elder gentleman, pastor, preacher, give a poem the other day. 2 poems. You have any real poems that you like? I should have asked you before, but
Well, not in particular.
not in particular.
I mainly just use them at funerals.
What do your song? Do you have favorite songs?
I do. I got several favorite songs, and I guess one of my favorites that has meant so much to me is Sheltered Safe Within the Arms of God.
Oh, yes.
That's always been a song that just in the middle of storms,
Spoke to you.
it spoke to me that I was sheltered safe within the arms of God.
Have you written any songs?
I've never written any, no, sir.
Now, tell us the names of your family.
My wife's name is Leslie, and then my oldest daughter is Kayla, and she's married to Dustin Benoit, and they have 2 children, Eloise and Jackson. And then my middle daughter's Hannah, and she is our worship leader here at the church.
Yeah.
And Kayla and Dustin are our youth pastors.
Yeah.
And then my youngest daughter lives in Springfield, Missouri, and she's Dara and her husband Jordan Freeman, and they help Brother Trey Elliott in the
Trey
church
Elliott.
in Diggins.
He's a nice person.
He's a fine young man. They got a great pastor and his wife.
Yes. And they've done a lot for the church.
They have.
Yeah, done a lot for the church. Well, I want to thank you for being with me today. And
Well, it's always a privilege to be with you anytime.
thank you.
We
very
love
much.
you very much at Ball, and
Well,
our family loves you and loved your wife greatly.
thank you. Oh, I miss her so bad.
Yes, sir.
I miss her so bad. Well, as we accustomed say, be sure and pray for me.
You do the same for me, and I know that you will.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you for being on the program, and,
Thank you for having me.
and God bless you all for being with us also. Thank you.